A wonderful fragrance of witch hazel, Hamamelis. It's just one of the shrubs flowering and centred in the gardens at Bressingham, the winter garden. Most of us think of gardens as being in the spring, summer and autumn, but we're going to show you in the next 4 or 5 minutes how colourful a winter garden can be. How is this for a spectacle? This is one of the dogwoods, Cornus midwinter fire, and really fiery. What a wonderful show. So imagine this is your garden. Here's a cornice in one corner of the garden, and amongst it you've got wonderful galanthus, a snowdrop with the large flowers. Then underneath, the black-leaved Ophiopogon, which here is creeping in the shade beneath it, and a great contrast, and that you only need a small area for. Cornus midwinter fire may be a fantastic colour, but it's not the only colour in cornus. In fact, there's the black-stemmed Kesselringii, and also one called white gold, which is variegated, and yellow-stemmed. We cut the cornus back every spring, just as they're coming into growth, and then it grows 3 feet, 4 feet perhaps in a year, and it's cutting them back and the new growth that gives a really strong colour all the way through the next winter. We've just looked at stems, and now of course we're looking at a small tree, the bark of Acer griseum, which is a slow-growing tree, but just look at that for winter interest. The silver birch are renowned for their colour in the winter in all sorts of gardens, but there are many at Bressingham. One of my favourites is this smaller, slower-growing tree called Betula apoensis. This 15-year-old witch hazel makes a wonderful show this time of year with its wide branches and fragrant yellow flowers. Don't forget ground level too. Obviously you can cover the ground with the Ophiopogon, nice edging for the pathway, the golden leaf, the chorus, and the Helleborus in the distance. The Helleborus hybrids are some of the most adaptable and long-flowering plants for winter interest, and really grow almost anywhere. Here they are in half shade and will flower for weeks. Part of the secret of winter gardens and colour in the winter garden is to create combinations that give you colour over a long period, and you'll see plenty of that in the winter garden here at Bressingham and down at Foggy Bottom. This is a dwarf shrub from Japan, wonderful colourful foliage in the winter, Nandina domestica, firepower. And just look at the dark purple leaves of Begonia Bressingham ruby, which are green in the summer, turning this wonderful colour in winter. And so we come to conifers, and to me certainly they're one of the most useful plants for structure in the winter time and also for winter colour. And many conifers, a lot of people don't understand, they change with the seasons. This is Abies nordmanniana, a golden spreader, and it's much brighter in winter than it is in the summer. These are 15-year-old plants of Abies golden spreader. The one in front is really behaving as the name suggests. The conifer in the background, the spreading lacy foliage, is bright green in the summer and turns deep brown bronze in the wintertime. On its own it would be pretty dull, but with the chorus in front it makes quite a striking combination. So this is Foggy Bottom. This is the garden that we started 50 years ago when we built our home, and overlooking an empty meadow. And if you look at the trees behind you, you can see that some of those have certainly grown over time and changed with the years. And one of the main purposes of the garden was to have year-round colour. That's the golden Scots pine that you see brightly in the foreground on the right. And of course these are trees, but they were planted 40 or 50 years ago. And they do provide very important structure to a flat meadow. But there are choices that you can make in the way of conifers that actually are much more suited to the smaller garden. Yes, the golden Scots pine is a wonderful tree, but it does become a tree unless it's pruned. But here's one that turns gold in the winter as well from green, and that's Pinus mugo, the mountain pine, Pinus mugo carston. And that certainly is suitable for a small garden for many years. Well, there's some special gems for the winter garden, and this is a Daphne Jacqueline Postel, and it's been in flower really for 6 weeks already. It's a semi-evergreen, but the scent just hits you when you walk by several yards away. In recent years, there's just been a proliferation of new Helleborus hybrids being introduced, and well, just look at that one. Isn't that fantastic? Here's another deep ruby red variety, very floriferous and very healthy. Who ever heard of a yellow Helleborus? This is one of the Harvington hybrids, and I've recently planted several of these up. Some are double, some are single in different colours. You've got to have them in your garden. This is another one here in the woodland, and very delicate with the double flowers. The fragrant snowdrop, Galanthus S. Arnott, is an old favourite, and it's all over Foggy Bottom. But it looks great here, coming up in the middle of this luzula, which keeps its golden foliage throughout the winter. This drift of snowdrops through the luzula lightens up a rather shady corner. Well, we've come to the end of our tour of the winter garden in Foggy Bottom. I hope it's given you some sort of idea of the amount of colour that you can have in a garden and different plants that you could use. But we're soon coming into spring, summer, and then autumn. So I hope you'll come and visit us during one or perhaps all of those seasons and really come to be inspired and to learn for your own garden.